Max Verstappen couldn't hold on in Spain, while Mercedes passed rival McLaren for second on all-time points. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our new home on unbeaten.com. Max Verstappen was gutted not to reign in Spain last weekend, with the RB16B bleeding pace to Mercedes, despite leading for 54 of the 66 laps, including Red Bull's 4,000th lap led as a constructor. Verstappen said he felt like a sitting duck on aging rubber as seven-time F1 world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton stopped for a second time and closed down a 20-second gap to pass 6 laps from home. Too slow, that's how you sum it up, Verstappen said. There's not much else to really discuss. Spain was Verstappen's 100th Grand Prix for Red Bull and marked 6 years since his maiden win on debut for the squad. Mercedes made yet more history in Barcelona. Its 1-3 result with Sir Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, seeing it overtake McLaren for second on the all-time drivers' points table. The Silver Arrows continue to break records in the hybrid era, with Mercedes drivers having secured 5,965.14 points, which is more than 26 up on McLaren. Ferrari, though, is leagues ahead. Sir Lewis Hamilton has earned a new accolade for his persistent activism against inequality, with the Brit winning the new for 2021 Laureus Athlete Advocate of the Year award. It's Hamilton's third award from Laureus, one that he's earned on the back of trailblazing efforts to build diversity in the sport and beyond.
This past year has been incredibly difficult for so many, but it has also been heartening to see the power of our collective voices spark new conversations and change. The impact of each and every one of you who have stood up is so inspiring, so I want to thank you. Please keep fighting and keep shining your light.
Mercedes finally confirmed last week that it will give Romain Grosjean the F1 send-off he deserves with a special one-day test and demo run at next month's French Grand Prix in its 2019 title-winning W10. The Swiss-French racer has shut the door on his F1 career, with IndyCar now his home, but was forced onto the sidelines for the final 2 races of 2020 after his fiery crash at last year's Bahrain Grand Prix. But the Silver Arrows are putting that right, with the idea kicking off in the immediate aftermath of his accident.
Well, I have known Romain since his days in Formula 3 when he won the championship. And he was in Formula 1 for a long time, but in the last couple of years driving a Haas, maybe didn't have the opportunity to see what the peak performance of the front-running cars would be, and I think it's very nice. He's really escaped this major accident, and finishing out by driving a Mercedes at the French Grand Prix sounds like a nice idea and a good idea.
Grosjean visited Mercedes Brackley base last week to get comfortable in 7-time F1 world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton's shoes and car, with a simulator session to get up to speed. The Swiss-French racer will get his first run on June 27. Ex-Renault boss Cyril Habib will return to the paddock as a strategic and business development advisor to Alpine supplier Mecachrome. Abiteboul left the team earlier this year before its Alpine rebrand, with the fast-talking Frenchman's role shared between executive director Marcin Budkowski and sporting director Davide Brivio. But he will return to the sport advising Mecachrome, which manufactures components for the Renault power unit in the Alpine A521 F1 car, as well as engines for F2 and F3. The 43-year-old will also join early-stage venture capital firm HCVC as a partner, with its next fund focused on hard tech, projects related to deep engineering challenges. Mercedes driver Valtteri Bottas has slammed growing rumors that he could be replaced mid-season, stating, "There is only one team that does that kind of thing in F1, and we are not that." Bottas is now third in the drivers' standings after 4 rounds, the Finn 47 points behind Merc teammate Lewis Hamilton, who hopes to have a new contract sorted by the summer. And while it's Bottas's worst start to a season since he joined Mercedes, with the Finn unable to convert pole in Portugal, the 31-year-old says he's with the Silver Arrows until at least the end of the year. "I am not going to be replaced in the middle of the season," he said. "As a team, we do not do that. I have a contract for this year." The pressure is on for Mercedes to replace Bottas with George Russell, with the Brit showing him up at last year's Sakir Grand Prix. Red Bull has continued to poach technical staff from main rival Mercedes for its powertrain project, with 6 new staff set to join the charge, one of which is yet to be announced. Along with Ben Hodgkinson as technical director, the new staff includes a new power unit production director, Steve Blewett, and a yet-to-be-named head of mechanical development. Red Bull is preparing to take over Honda's Works power unit project, with the Japanese manufacturer exiting the sport at the end of the season. And driver Max Verstappen says it is understandable people want to jump ship from Mercedes. "When people are in the same place for a long time, I think sometimes they want to seek new challenges," he said. Prema F2 rookie Oscar Piastri says he's got his sights set on an F1 drive for 2022, with this year's feeder series titled The Target, but says 2023 was always the plan for breaking into the main game. Piastri, who made the jump to F2 with Prema after winning the F3 title, is 4th in the F2 standings after Bahrain, where he won the second sprint race, and said to the Australian Grand Prix podcast In the Fast Lane, he is determined to leap up again.
The sooner I can get to F1, the better in my eyes. But, if it doesn't happen for next year, which, is certainly no easy task, then I definitely think I can do it in a second year of F2.
Piastri is part of Alpine's driver academy and drove the Renault RS18 in Bahrain last year, but is hoping 3 straight titles, Formula Renault Eurocup, F3 and F2, will seal a seat on the F1 grid.
If I can get there, then that only helps, and with the momentum I've got at the moment with 2 championships, then if I can try and add a 3rd in a row, that makes my prospects look pretty good, I would like to think.
Former Sauber team boss Manisha Kaltenborn says that the glass ceiling for women in the sport has been broken, but work still needs to be done in providing opportunities to be involved. The Indian-Austrian joined the Swiss team's legal department, initially on secondment, but rose through the ranks to become CEO and then team principal from 2012 to 2017. But said to F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid that attitudes towards women still need to change.
At the end of the day, it's today all about the opportunity. I was fortunate to get that. You have enough women out there who have the capabilities, who have the right degrees, the experience, whatever it needs. But you need to be given the opportunity. And that's something which you cannot force people to do. It's a question of how they think.
Mercedes has revealed that a faulty exhaust sensor forced Valtteri Bottas's power unit into protection mode in Portugal, effectively costing him a shot at 2nd place late in the race. On lap 55 of 66, Bottas was 3rd and closing in on Verstappen, with less than 2 seconds between them, but lost power along the straight when a broken sensor sought to reduce exhaust temperatures.
In this case, the power unit actually was perfectly fine, but one of the sensors was reading very inaccurate numbers and put the engine into a protection mode, effectively tried to, if this was true, protect the power unit. It's a power unit we have to run for a number of races.
Bottas's full power was returned after 2 laps, but the gap to Verstappen had grown to over 5 seconds with 10 laps remaining.
After a short period of time, those 2 laps, the sensor actually failed, and as a result of it, the power unit returned back to normal power. There was nothing more that had to be done.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.